During the last lecture, we have just started to define the definition of homomorphism, but due to some technical errors, the definition could not be completed on that lecture. I am again defining the definition of homomorphism. Let us suppose we have two groups. This is group Z, and this is one more group. This is G dash. It means this set Z have some elements, and that elements, let us suppose these are the A, B, C. These elements will satisfy four properties: closure, identity, inverse, and associativity. Similarly, as Z dash is again a group, let us suppose it has some element alpha, beta, gamma, and let us suppose this has delta. This is again a group, and these elements are also satisfying these four property related to group. Then association means what is the connectivity or link of the group of the elements of group Z with the elements of group G dash. Let us suppose that A is mapped on alpha. It means A has any type of relation with alpha. Here I am using word relation. This relation word is not similar to the relation symbol, relation word which is generally used in discrete mathematics. Here I am just using the relation word for the association of element A to element alpha, how these elements are associated with each other. So generally in mathematical term the mapping word is correct, so but sometimes it is difficult to understand by using the mapping word. So here I am saying relation, but this relation is not equivalent or identical to the relation word which is generally used in discrete mathematics. So let us suppose A is associated with alpha by any how, we don't know. Suppose we have a set and this have element 2 and another set have element 4. So what is the association of this 2 and 4? It means the square of 2 is 4. It means it is the square relation. So this is a mapping, square mapping, not a relation. This is the square mapping. So you can, for simplicity, you can say here word relation, but it is exactly mapping. So this mapping, not G or G dash, is said to be homomorphism. It satisfies the following properties. The first property is you are composing element A with element B on G dash and finding the resultant, because we know that A and B, these are the elements of group Z, and the elements of group Z will satisfy closure property. So the A of B will be also belongs to Z. This will be a new elements or repeated elements in set Z, and if you want to find the mapping of this A of B in Z dash, then this will be obtained. Again, the mapping of the operation or composition of the mapping of two different elements. Let us suppose I am taking here the mapping of B is beta and mapping of A is alpha. So F of A of B, this will be equivalent to alpha composition with beta. But it is not necessary that the operator is same in both groups. They have different operators, so we are using here symbol O dash. O dash means the operator which is using in G dash, and O be the operator which is generally using in group Z. So the mapping of the composition of two elements will be equivalent to the composition of their mappings. So this definition, if this property is satisfied here, then this mapping is known as homomorphism. If the homomorphism is onto means there is no such element in G dash which is not mapped by the element of group Z. It means all elements of Z dash are mapped by the elements of Z. So then this mapping is onto, and you have already studied this in your 12th class. Then in this scenario, let us suppose A is related with beta, B is related with C, beta, A with alpha, B with beta, C with gamma, and maybe there is one more element D, and this D is again associated with alpha. This is possible in mapping. Now there is no such element in G dash which is not the mapping of any element of G. So this is known as onto mapping, and if the mapping is onto, then the homomorphism is known as epimorphism. Again, if the mapping is 1-1 means only one element of set Z is associated with the one element of set G dash. Let us suppose this is the element A, element B, element C, and A is associated with separate element, B is associated with separate element, and C is associated with separate element. It means any element of G dash is not the mapping of two or more elements of G. In this case, the mapping is known as 1-1, and we know that this association or mapping is known as monomorphism in case of group. Similarly, if the mapping is into means there is at least one element in G dash which is not mapped by any element of G. Let us suppose in this case here there is an element which is not the mapping of any element of G. So now this is the case of into, and in case of into the homomorphism is known as endomorphism. So I hope you have understood the definition of homomorphism. Generally, homomorphism will satisfy this definition. It means the mapping of the composition of two elements will be equivalent to the composition of their mappings. Let's discuss one more important definition. This is kernel of homomorphism. What is the kernel of homomorphism? Let us suppose there are two groups. This is group G, and this is one more group. This is G dash. And there is a homomorphism between G and G dash. It means the elements of G are being mapped on the elements of G dash. Let us suppose this element, and this element. These are three elements which are mapped on some elements here. And this is the identity element. Let us suppose the first element is associated with this. The second element is mapped on identity, while the third element is mapped on identity in G dash. So these two elements are known as the kernel of G. So as per definition, we can read it as G and G dash are two groups such that F is the homomorphism between them. Then the set of the elements of G, it means the elements available in G, which are mapped on identity in G dash. Then this set of elements is called kernel of homomorphism. There is a theorem related to the kernel of homomorphism and the definition of homomorphism, and in this theorem it is stated that let G and G dash are two groups such that E be the identity in G and E dash be the identity in G dash. Let us suppose this is G and this is G dash. Then the identity of element of group G is E, while the element identity of G dash is E dash. These are two elements. F is a homomorphism. It means there may be some more elements which are mapped with the elements of G dash. Let us suppose this is the mapping process. Then these three results will be always satisfied. First, the mapping of identity from group G will be always mapped on the identity in G dash. It means the mapping of this identity element will be this identity element of G dash. This is the identity in G dash, while E be the identity in G. The second definition is the F inverse X. I hope it is F inverse X, and we will correct it while we will solve the problem. The inverse of F inverse of X will be equivalent to the inverse of Fx. This is our second property. And the third is K is a normal subgroup where K is known as kernel of homomorphism. Kernel of homomorphism means the set of elements of group G which are being mapped on identity in G dash. To prove the first part, it means we will prove here the mapping of identity is identity in G dash. Let we have an element X which is in set G, and there is one more element in G dash which is the mapping of this element X. It means the mapping of X, this is equal to this element. So this element will be written as Fx. Fx means the mapping of X. So please make it clear that Fx will be the element of G dash, not of G. So let X be the element of G, then Fx will be the element of G dash, because this resultant composition will be available in G dash. For an example, let us suppose I am writing here 2 and square is a mapping, then in the right hand side there must be 4. It means 4 is the mapping of 2. So we can say that 4 is equivalent to 4, which is equivalent to the mapping of 2. So now fx will be written as, because the fx is the element of g dash, so we can write it as the multiplication with identity available in g dash, where e dash is the identity in g dash. The resultant will not be affected, so the value of fx with e dash will be equivalent to fx. Because x be the element of g, this is the element of x be the element of g, and identity is also available in g, and this is fx and this is e dash. So the product of this x with e will be equivalent to x, because if you are multiplying any element with identity, then the resultant will be that element. So this x can be written as xe. So here we will apply the definition of homomorphism, because f is a mapping which is homomorphism. So the mapping of the product of two elements will be equivalent to the product of their mappings. So fxe will be written as the fx into fe, and there is no change in right hand side. If we apply here the left cancellation law, then fe will be equal to e dash, which is the desired result. So we can say that the identity of group G will be always mapped on the identity of group G dash. Now we are taking the one more problem, one more statement which is given in this problem. Student, please make it correct that the statement is written, statement must be written that the mapping of the inverse of any element will be equivalent to the inverse of its mapping. It means either you can calculate the inverse of element x and after that you are calculating the mapping, or you can calculate the mapping and its inverse. So we will understand the proof of this statement. Let x be belongs to G and x inverse will belongs to G, which will be obviously true. Let us suppose x be the element of group G, and G, because G be a group, so every element of group G will exist its inverse. So x inverse will be also available in G. This is the inverse axiom. Now x and x inverse, these are two different elements. So if we apply here the closure property, so their composition will be also available in G. So x inverse will be already available in G. If I want to find their mapping, then the mapping of x inverse, because this is the element, this is the composition of two elements available in G. So the mapping of their product will be written as the fx into fx inverse, because this is the definition of homomorphism. Now x and x inverse, we know that x and x inverse which is equivalent to identity. If we multiply any element by it with its inverse, then we get identity. So this is the mapping on identity, and there is no change in right hand side. Now we can write this statement in reversal order. It means you can write the left hand side in right and right hand side in left. There is no change up to here. Now there is no change in right hand side, sorry, left hand side. And by using previous theorem, we know that the mapping of group G will be always mapped on the identity of G dash. So this will be equivalent to E dash. So here we can say that the product of two elements is equal to identity. It means, and we can notice that fx be the element of G dash, because x is the element of G, and fx be the mapping of this element, and the mapping is also available in G dash. So individually we can say that fx is an element of G dash, and similarly fx inverse will be the element of G dash. These are two elements and their composition, their product is equivalent to identity. It means one of them is the inverse of other. So we can say that the fx be the inverse of fx inverse. So we can, if we can say that the fx, this is be the inverse of fx inverse. So we can say that if we apply the inverse here, then this will be equivalent to fx inverse. So this is our desired output, desired result, which we want to prove here. For the last part, we will prove that the kernel of homomorphism is a normal subgroup. Before proving it as a normal subgroup, first we will prove it as a subgroup. It means we will show that the kernel of homomorphism, it means the elements of group G which are being mapped on identity in G dash. these are some elements. Let us suppose these are 1, 2, 3. These are 3 elements which are mapping on a single element which is identity in G dash. This is being mapped on E dash. So first we will prove that these 3 elements or more than 3 elements, these are just an example that we are taking only 3 elements, but the number of such type of elements may be more than 3. So the number of such type of elements will create a subgroup. So to prove this, first we will take 2 elements in K. Let us suppose K be a kernel of homomorphism. So let us take 2 elements which are belonging to kernel. If A and B are the elements of kernel, then their mapping will be always they will be mapped always on identity in G dash. It means the mapping of A will be E dash and the mapping of B will be again E dash. Again we will write here A and B, these are the elements of group Z. Suppose the first is A, second is B, and so on. So because B is the element of G, so its inverse will be also available in G, because G is a group, and in a group every elements exists its own inverse. So again we can write A is available in G and B inverse is available in G. Now A and B inverse, these are 2 different elements of Z. So by using closure property, their composition will be also available in G. So AB inverse will also exist in G. Now we will check what will be the definition of what will be the mapping of this AB inverse, because we want to prove that the K is a group and the shortcut to K be a subgroup, and the shortcut to prove a set be a subgroup. It is good that you will prove that AB inverse is available in that set. If the AB inverse is the element of that set, this is a very popular theorem, then this set will be a subgroup. So here we have proved that AB inverse will be available in G. What will be the mapping of AB inverse? Now because F is a homomorphism, so we are applying here the concept of homomorphism. So it will be the composition of the mapping of A and B inverse individually. There is no change on FP, and in the last theorem we have proved that FB inverse is equivalent to the inverse of FB. And now what is the FA? FA means because A is the element of kernel, so it will be mapped on E dash. FB is the element of kernel, so it will be again mapped on E dash. So this will be equal to E dash E dash. And we know that the inverse of identity is itself identity. Identity is always its own inverse. So E and E dash, and the composition of E and E dash will be again equal to E dash. It means the AB inverse is being mapped in on E dash. It means F of AB inverse, please note it carefully, F of AB inverse which is equivalent to E dash, and E dash is available in E. So we can say that FAB inverse is available in G dash, because E dash is available in G dash. So this is equivalent to F of AB inverse. So F of AB inverse will be equivalent to G dash. So here we can, as this is equal to AB inverse. Yes, up to here we have proved that the AB inverse will exist. It means the availability of AB inverse is done. Now we wish to show that this AB inverse is available in K. So to prove that, here we have shown that the mapping of AB inverse is E dash. It means the mapping of the composition of AB inverse is being mapped on identity. It means AB inverse is the element of kernel, because the element of kernels mapped on K, on identity, sorry, on identity. So AB inverse is equal to, it belongs to K. Hence we can say that here K is a subgroup. In next part we will prove this K is also a normal subgroup. It means we will apply the definition of X and X inverse. We will apply here this definition. In this part we are proving that this K is a normal subgroup. So we have proved this approach, and a student will go through this. If you are facing any difficulty, you can ask me. Otherwise I will explain this part in my next lecture. Otherwise the length of this lecture will be unexpected. So I will discuss in my next lecture. Thank you so much.